What would you do if the very thing that ended your career was staring you in the face? Most people would walk away. Some might even hold a grudge. But not J.B. Mauney. In one of the wildest moves we've ever seen in the world of bull riding, J.B. Mauney, the legend himself, did something no one expected. After a brutal accident with a bull named Arctic Assassin ended his career, he didn't just hang up his rope and disappear. He went out and bought the very bull that nearly killed him. This is the kind of story that makes you question everything you think you know about cowboys and the sport of bull riding. Was it forgiveness? Closure? Or something deeper? And here's the crazy part. Some say it's the most cowboy thing anyone's ever done. But what do you think? Would you buy the bull that ended your career? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're dying to know. Stick around, because this story isn't just about a bull or a rider. It's about respect, redemption, and the kind of guts it takes to face your past head-on. And trust me, you won't believe where this story goes. J.B. Mauney has always been known as one of the toughest cowboys out there. Over the years, he's had his fair share of injuries. Broken bones, concussions, you name it. But no matter what, he always climbed back on the bull. That's just who he is. People started calling him a modern-day gladiator. He made a name for himself by riding some of the rankerest bulls ever, and he did it with a grin on his face. But in September 2023, something happened that changed everything. JB was riding at the PRCA Xtreme Bulls event in Lewiston, Idaho. It was a regular day at work for him. The bull he drew that night was called Arctic Assassin. Now, this wasn't just any bull. Arctic Assassin was a big, powerful animal, known for throwing even the best riders. But JB wasn't worried. He'd faced bulls like this before. When the gate swung open, Arctic Assassin came flying out of the chute. The ride started off rough, but JB was holding his own. Then, in a split second, everything went wrong. JB lost his balance and got thrown forward. He slammed face first into the bull's massive head. It was a brutal hit. He dropped to the ground, and Arctic Assassin's back leg kicked him on the way down. The damage was serious. JB broke several bones in his face, including his jaw and eye socket. He had to have surgery and spent days in the hospital. Doctors told him it could have been a lot worse. He was lucky to be alive. After everything he'd been through in his career, this was the injury that finally did it. JB announced that he was retiring from bull riding. It was a hard decision, but he knew it was time. He said in interviews that his body just couldn't take it anymore. "I've broken just about every bone you can," he said, half joking, but everyone knew it was true. For fans, it was the end of an era. J.B. Mauney had given everything he had to the sport. Walking away wasn't easy, but he had no choice. But if you think that was the last wild thing J.B. would do, you don't know him very well. After J.B. Mauney retired, most people thought he'd take it easy for a while. Maybe spend time with his family, relax on his ranch, and enjoy life outside the arena. And for a little while, that's what he did. But J.B. isn't the kind of guy who can sit still for long. That's when he did something nobody saw coming. A few months after the accident with Arctic Assassin, the bull that ended his career, JB decided to buy him. Yeah, you heard that right. He bought the same bull that nearly killed him. When the news broke, it spread like wildfire through the rodeo world. Some people thought it was a joke. Others thought he'd lost his mind. But it was true. Arctic Assassin was now JB Mauney's bull. So why did he do it? In an interview, JB explained his reasons, and honestly, they make a lot of sense when you hear it from him. First off, he's always respected the animals he's ridden. These bulls are athletes, just like the riders. JB never blamed Arctic Assassin for what happened. In his words, the bull was just doing his job. That's what they're bred to do. It was never personal. But it goes deeper than that. JB has a kind of connection to Arctic Assassin now. That bull marked a turning point in his life. It ended one chapter and started another. For JB, buying Arctic Assassin wasn't about revenge or anything like that. It was about respect, and maybe a little bit of closure. He said he didn't want the bull to end up in a bad situation. Sometimes, after a bull's career is over, they don't always get the best treatment. JB wanted to make sure Arctic Assassin would live out his life well cared for. So he made the decision to buy him and bring him to his own ranch. People were shocked, but a lot of them respected the move. Some fans even said it was the most cowboy thing they'd ever seen. JB didn't just ride bulls, he respected them. And this move proved it. Now, Arctic Assassin lives on JB's ranch. JB has said the bull is doing great and seems to be enjoying retirement as much as he is. He feeds him, looks after him, and makes sure he's healthy. JB jokes that he and Arctic Assassin are both retired athletes now, just hanging out and taking it easy. But there's something bigger about this story too. It shows the kind of man JB is. Most people would want to forget about a bull like that. After all, it ended his career and sent him to the hospital. But JB doesn't see it that way. He sees Arctic Assassin as part of his story, part of what made him who he is today. And let's be honest, JB Mauney has always done things his own way. Whether it's riding bulls no one else would get on or making a move like this, he's never followed the crowd. Buying Arctic Assassin is just one more example of JB doing things on his terms. Fans have reacted in all kinds of ways. Some say it's wild, others call it inspiring. But pretty much everyone agrees, it's classic JB Mauney. And it makes you wonder, what's next for a guy like him? After JB Mauney's wild career and even wilder decision to buy Arctic Assassin, a lot of people wondered what he was going to do next. Was he going to disappear from the rodeo world? Move on to something totally different? Not a chance of that. Even though he's not climbing on bulls anymore, JB is still deeply involved in the sport he loves. These days, he's taken on a new role coaching. He's now working with the Oklahoma Wildcatters, a team in the PBR's team series. Instead of riding, he's teaching the next generation of riders how to handle themselves in the arena. And if you know JB, you know he's the perfect guy for the job. After everything he's been through, every win, every injury, every 8-second ride, he's got more experience than just about anyone. The younger guys look up to him, and they're eager to learn from someone who's been there and done it all. In interviews, JB has said he loves coaching because it keeps him close to the sport. He might not be riding anymore, but he's still part of the action. He watches the riders, gives them advice, and helps them improve. And he doesn't sugarcoat things. If they're making mistakes, he tells them straight. That's how he was raised in the sport, and that's how he teaches. But coaching isn't the only thing keeping JB busy. Back at home, he spends a lot of time on his ranch, working with the animals. And of course, taking care of Arctic Assassin. He said that life has slowed down a little, but in a good way. He gets to spend more time with his family now, especially his wife and kids. After years on the road, being home more often is something he's learning to appreciate. JB has also talked about how much he enjoys helping young bull riders outside of the team setting. Guys will call him up for advice, or he'll meet with them at events. He's honest about the risks of bull riding, but he also encourages them to go after their dreams. He tells them the truth about what it takes: hard work, pain, and dedication. Looking at JB's life now, you can tell he's found a balance. He's still the tough, no-nonsense cowboy everyone remembers from his riding days. But he's also showing a different side of himself: a mentor, a family man, and even a guy who can forgive the bull that ended his career. At the end of the day, JB Mauney isn't done with bull riding. He's just riding a different trail now. JB Mauney's story has always been about grit, toughness, and doing things his own way. From his early days as a young bull rider with something to prove to becoming one of the biggest names in the sport, he's never backed down from a challenge. Even now, after his career-ending injury, he's still surprising people. Buying Arctic Assassin, the bull that ended his career, might seem crazy to some. But for JB, it makes perfect sense. It's a symbol of respect, closure, and maybe even a little redemption. He's taking care of the bull that changed his life, and in a way, it shows the kind of man he is. Someone who doesn't hold grudges. Someone who understands the risks of the life he chose. And someone who still loves the sport of bull riding, even if he's no longer the one in the chute. Today, JB Mauney is passing on what he's learned to younger riders, taking care of his family, and living life on his terms. He's still the cowboy we've all admired, just riding a different kind of adventure. And if there's one thing we know for sure about JB Mauney, he's not done surprising us yet.